Hello, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Transit Talk. Friends, remember, the Transit Talk is a monthly grassroots educational program organized by our co-workers to bring you the two single most important fundamental elements of any and every movement. Number one, educating ourselves. Number two, organizing ourselves. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. So thank you for joining us today. Today's episode is very interesting because it pertains to every single one of us in the entire fleet. It pertains to our money, the way we get paid, and the issues that we have in terms of being paid. Many operators have come to me, and many of you out there actually know operators, maybe even yourselves, that have been paid incorrectly. Maybe you haven't been paid a lunch meal, maybe you haven't been paid overtime, maybe you haven't been paid some of your special premium pays. All of these little sort of extra categories makes it real difficult for us to understand our pay, our paychecks, our pay stubs, and just the way that we get paid in general. A very interesting story or issue that came about was from that of Raquel's. And I'd like for her to share take a few minutes of her time just to share pretty much what happened in terms of your situation, because it's very, very interesting. So pay attention, you guys. Follow along here.
Okay, so hi, I am Raquel. My CAP ID number is 8844. I used to be a full-time operator. Now I'm a part-time operator. But I recently dealt with an issue with payroll because I figured out on my paycheck that I hadn't been getting paid right for doing a run out of Presidio that pulls out of Woods. So I wasn't getting paid my hour and a half for early pullout and the inconvenience time. So when I reached out to my superintendent and to payroll, the payroll Sharon, I believe is her name, from Presidio, she verified that I wasn't getting paid, and said, she basically said that I had to figure out how, like, since when I hadn't been paid, but I had already done my homework. I reached out to some people at Woods that helped me out, and I reached out to Michael here, and he verified that I was not getting paid right, and it took like 2 months for me to get paid back a year's worth of pay. But in this, I did talk to the lady from payroll, and she said that we weren't getting paid correctly, full time and part time. What does she mean by that? Or, how many hours or how much time? I don't know. But what I do know is that I had initially gone to dispatch to say, hey, here's my paycheck. I don't see the hours that I'm working. Can you please let me know if I'm getting paid right? Dispatch, I know they're not payroll and that's not their job. And all they do, they put in the hours to trapeze, and they looked at that trapeze and they said, yeah, you are getting paid right. So I was still like, I don't see it though. Where is it? So I kind of let it go. I've been busy, and finally I said, you know what? No, let me go back and let me check my checks. And so when I called Sharon, we did find out that I wasn't getting paid right. She said that it was a discrepancy between trapeze and the new payroll, that I guess both systems are not communicating well. So I told her, I go, well, and then she said, I can't pay if even though I see that it's on trapeze, I can't pay you. I guess if it's not submitted right, or I'm not sure how those two systems work.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's your job as payroll to balance out your systems. If this system is telling you to pay this person, 50 hours, and this system only allows for 40, you have to go to your manager and say, hey, what's up with this? Why does this trapeze say to pay her this, and it's only allowing me to do 40? Why? Because that's your job as payroll. Yeah, my job is to look at my checks. Unfortunately, I hadn't really taken the time to look at my checks,
So, Raquel, so you just stated that it took you a couple of months to get back approximately a year's worth of
It took
back
me,
pay.
2 to 3 months.
Wow. How
Yeah.
much did you get back?
The whole chunk amount was 6,000 and change.
Around $6,000, you guys, that Raquel was able to get back. Why? Because she was able to go back and look at her paycheck. She knew that something was wrong. She couldn't fully verify it. She knew something was definitely wrong there.
Yeah.
When Raquel reached out to me, I said, you know what? I'm not a numbers expert. Who did I go to? I go to the man who I refer to as a payroll professional, Mr. Michael Dennis. What do you have to say about that, Mike?
Well, you referred Raquel to me, and the first thing we did was to take a look at her check stubs just to verify that what she suspected that she wasn't getting paid was true. And that's the first obstacle that we're all running into, and that I'm seeing a lot of, is that you just don't know because the check stubs are so confusing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crucially important that we're able to know for sure, look at your schedule, look at your check stub, and know whether or not you're getting paid correctly. And that was what Raquel, where she was at when she was referred to me. Mm-hmm. And I was able to, I think I looked at it and determined that you absolutely were not getting that hour. Another thing I hear a lot, and then you went from there,
Yeah.
So, and that's the foundation of making a claim that you're not getting
the foundation.
The
foundation was that I have to look first. But in all this, my conclusion is that there has to be a person, I don't know if in the union or above the union, that we can go to say, hey, look at my checks, or for them to say, look, SFMTA or City and County of San Francisco, the systems are not communicating well. We need to find a better system, because the check is not that easy for you to understand. Right. Well, at least not for me. And so I had to go through many people to figure it out or to get the answers, and it was really hard communicating with payroll as far as she didn't know, or she can't do this, she can't do that, and then the union steps in and yes, you are going to pay my employees, but it shouldn't be like that. Our check should be easy enough for us to read, or we should have somebody in the union representation that knows or can say, you know what, yes, you're right. I mean, I went to him and I got some of his time, but I got some of his personal time, but I had already done my homework.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And you have to first to be able to recognize that whether or not you're getting paid correctly, and then to confirm it and go forward from there. And this discussion that you had with down at payroll, where she says, well, this computer's not communicating with the other one. You shouldn't have to even have that discussion with her and tell her how to do her job.
Right. Yeah.
There needs to be a process to just determine that your check is wrong and then get it corrected. And those are nothing but excuses that we get. When you look at the dispatchers are just like you said, putting it in trapeze, and they.
That's not their job. They just put it in trapeze, and and I understand that that's not their job. That's why I told the payroll lady from Presidio, I said, you as payroll, you should be able to check and balance both of those systems and be either equal, negative, plus, and know, what, there's a discrepancy. These people are not getting paid right.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line.
You as an operator shouldn't have to be having that argument or that discussion with that payroll person. So this is why it's so important that we have professional people who know what they're doing, and people who will support these kind of efforts that Raquel has made, and to go forward and get people paid correctly.
Absolutely. One of the things that you said is that, and I want everybody to understand this, that you went to Michael Dennis, and on his own time, he helped you out. He assisted you, right? Now, this is one of the many reasons as to why it's important and imperative to put people in the right positions, politically, whether it's in the union, whether it's here, there, management, whatever the case may be. And Michael Dennis has indeed been accompanying me to several of these meetings with upper management so that we can move forward in terms of addressing all of these payroll issues. This is just one issue right here with Raquel, where she was paid more than $6,000 worth of back pay. That's just for 1 year for one operator, friends. Now, Michael Dennis cannot receive 2,000 phone calls from the entire fleet because He's still an operator driving the bus 9-10 hours a day.
Right.
He has no office time.
And after him helping me, he did tell me to talk to my union rep at Presidio because he can further assist me in by representing me. So he did, he's like, I can help you check out your payroll stub, but I can't represent you because that's not my job. So he would, he guided me also in the other direction, to go to and talk to our union reps. And there Juan contacted Sharon, and they had a conversation. He made a statement to her like, you have to pay my operator or all the operators. But I think as far as this incident, we have to look more into this incident because other operators for sure are not getting paid right.
Right, absolutely. And in terms of representation, there is nobody in the entire fleet that I would want representing me in this type of issue other than this Michael Dennis, the payroll professional right here. We're running out of time, so I want to get Pete Wilson's intake on this. Go ahead.
Pete Wilson. You know what, this reminds me, Michael has been talking to me. Michael's definitely the expert on this, but I do enjoy talking to Michael about this, and that we're looking at his paychecks, and it is confusing, and there's something like 30 or 40 different categories out there, and for us to be able to figure that is very difficult. But what it reminded me of is not when you got us a big check in April. Thank you for that check once again. But you remember, Roger?
FLSA.
But yeah, the FLSA. But remember the court case from like 4 years ago?
Right.
That some people got a check. The lawyer from that case told me that when they don't pay us, and they knowingly don't pay us, there is a $25 a day penalty fee. So my question, Michael, maybe we need to look into the future. As soon as this woman in payroll was saying, oh yeah, it's not right. There's a problem here. Once they know that they're not paying you, as far as I'm concerned, at that time, that's when the penalties started accruing. Was there any penalty paid, or was it just back pay?
It was just back pay.
The penalty would come from the state because it's a violation of state law to defraud you of overtime pay that you're entitled to.
Well, the SFMTA wouldn't pay that?
Not unless they're ordered to. We have to go through, make probably a complaint with the state to get that.
Okay.
But the starting point for all of us is to you need to be able to understand your check, and that's one thing that I've been working on, that I focused on, and that's a goal for the future. Hopefully we'll have a more simplified paycheck stub, because that way we don't just have myself looking at the paycheck stubs, but each and every operator. Well, that's 2,000 pair of eyes watching what payroll is doing, rather than just a few here and there. And we also have to have reliable people in, we've got an election coming up in all the positions, so we don't run into obstacles with our own union when we're trying to pursue these things.
Right.
Which happens at times.
That's exactly right. So, friends, we are in the month of November 2019. Michael did state that there was an election coming up, and this episode here is absolutely important in terms of letting you know that there are hundreds of operators, members out there that are being ripped off, and we don't know it until you start scrutinizing and looking at your own
payroll
pay
should
stubs.
know. Payroll should know.
And even
in their books,
right?
They should know. So I don't know why they're just letting it slide.
It's because these issues are not being brought up.
That's something that the new board is going to be working on.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to spearhead it myself. I'm already working on it in my own time. You and I have already talked with managers about simplifying the stub, and they kind of say, yeah, we can do that. But I know I can be a lot more effective as a board member than just an operator coming in on my off time, complaining to these people. And we need a whole. That goes for the entire board. When you're making your vote, be mindful of who you're putting. Each chairperson, each person that you vote for makes up the executive board.
Right.
And we're looking. We need to have an executive board that will work together in agreement that these issues are important, and not be trying to undermine and create obstacles. Which I can tell you stories of obstacles I've had myself. This is not the first operator that's come to me. It's not the first payroll matter that I've taken on.
Right.
And most of my obstacles so far have been from my own people who are supposed to be helping me, just getting in the way. I have to go around, and thank God for Roger. I eventually reached the president who will help me out.
Absolutely. We
shouldn't have to be fighting our own union. We got to put quality people in place who are willing to help, and will be on board with the entire movement of going forward.
Absolutely. So, friends, please pay attention in these next couple of weeks. It's going to be absolutely important in terms of what happens, right before December 13th, which is going to be the election. So, please stay tuned, stay focused, stay aware, and alert about what's going on, what's happening. We are running out of time, but I do want to give everybody here just a quick 30 seconds to wrap up. Pete, 30 seconds.
I just
Last
want to
comments.
thank you, Raquel, for coming and putting this information out. Thank you once again, Michael, for helping figure this out, because it is too difficult, too cryptic.
Indeed. Raquel.
I just want to thank all the people that helped me get my money. People from Woods, Presidio, Michael Dennis, who helped me out and did a whole year, like a whole year worth of digging in my files that I gladly handed over. And but I had to do my research. So please, let's somehow unite, or let's figure out this payroll thing, because somehow people are not getting paid right, and that's not unfair. That is very unfair. Sorry.
Mike, 30 seconds.
Well, okay, I was glad to help. Whenever I can, there's been other operators that come to me, and I do the best I can. But I want to just commend you for being the one to notice it. It starts with knowing that you're not getting paid correctly and reaching out. And that's the project that we're going to be working on, is educating everybody so that you can eventually you can be able to look at your check and see whether or not you're getting paid correctly. Get to the bottom of all these issues.
Indeed. $6,000, more than $6,000 worth of back pay, friends. More than $6,000 worth of back pay that was due to Raquel, and she did receive a check for that because she was brave enough to look into her paycheck and to figure out that, hey, something's wrong here, something's weird, something's fishy. Let me talk to Roger, let me talk to Michael Dennis, let me figure this out, and kudos to her for figuring that out. More than $6,000 worth of back pay for one operator in the entire fleet of, what do we have, 2,500, 2,600 members here. So friends, pay attention. Do your research, do your homework, especially for Friday, December the 13th, for the special election. Do your research. Remember to join us the third Wednesdays of every month at our general monthly assemblies. Until next time, friends, be safe out there.